Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you happen to be in the world today. My name is Jason Hodgert with PCI Geomatics, and I'm really happy to have you joining us for the latest in our webinar series, Operational Processing of RADARSAT 2 Imagery. This is a pretty special one. We have a guest speaker today, Mr. Warren Cartwright from MDA Geospatial, and for those of you that have attended our webinars in the past, a little bit behind the scenes, we often do these from remote locations, and we have our guest speakers might be on the other side of the globe or in a different office, but we're especially treated here today. We have Warren Cartwright in our PCI offices today to help out and demonstrate some of the Radar 2SAT imagery and what's available on that platform, along with Kevin Jones, who's going to be talking about how we use Geomatica software and the latest version of that to process and derive imagery from the RADARSAT 2 data. So I'll just very quickly, working with RADARSAT imagery has never been easier with the tools and things that we've put in the PCI Geomatica software suite. Whether you're conducting a polarimetric analysis and research, change detection, shift detection, oil slick detection, or extracting any other kind of information, using Geomatica with RADARSAT imagery is a truly powerful combination. We believe that RADARSAT 2 provides the best radar-based platform out there for deriving these information products for what you're looking for, and obviously, of course, we feel that Geomatica is the best tool set to allow you to do that. A little bit of logistics before we get to our presenters. All your lines are muted during the course of the presentation, so if you're in a room with a group of people, feel free to talk amongst yourselves. You can type, you can clap, and you will not be interrupting the presentation at all. If you do have questions, we will be having a dedicated question and answer session following the presentation, but by all means, enter your questions into the questions panel, which you can pop out on the right side of your screen, I believe is the default where it appears there. Enter your question at any time, and we'll be saving them for the end of the session. We are recording this session, but be sure to stick around for the question and answer session. But we will be providing a recording of this and the slides to attendees in a day or two following the presentation. Like I mentioned, we have a special guest today. Starting the presentation will be Warren Cartwright. He is a product manager at MDA Geospatial Services. And Kevin Jones, the Director of Marketing here at PCI Geomatics, is going to be talking about what the Geomatica use through the use of a live demonstration using a data set provided by MDA Geospatial. So another thing we like to do here, we're going to ask a little bit about yourselves, and this helps us not only get a better feel for what you're looking for as customers, but it helps us turn our software and add the tools and features that you're looking to use. So basically, we just want to know a little bit about yourself. I'm going to have 3 polls throughout the session today, and the first of which is, I think you should be able to see it on your screen there now, is what is your familiarity and your interest in using SAR imagery? Perhaps you're not very familiar, but you've heard a few things about it. You may be primarily working with optical data and are looking to learn what kind of advantages SAR imagery can give you. You might be an occasional SAR user or using SAR imagery exclusively. Perfect. Thanks, everybody. I'll just do briefly mention that a fairly even split, but there seems to be a large number, close to 40% of people out there are using SAR imagery occasionally. So that's really good. I think the presentation and the demonstration that we have today is going to be really useful, so you can learn a little bit about what you can probably do with SAR to use it more frequently, and take advantage of the tools in the software to do that. So with that, I'm going to pass along to Warren Cartwright, who is going to give a little bit of a background about the RADARSAT mission, RADARSAT 2 data, and the kinds of things available in that. So, Warren, over to you.
Good morning. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you, Jason. That was a great intro, and do appreciate everyone joining us today. As mentioned, I work for MDA Geospatial Services, and we're the operator of the RADARSAT 2 mission. Maybe, Jason, if we just go back one, I'll just walk through a bit of an outline there on what we're going to cover today. And the results of the polls were very interesting in that, as you say, we've got about 40% of the people that work with SAR imagery on occasion, and obviously what we want to hope to do is show you how you can work with that imagery on a more regular basis and really take advantage of some of its unique capabilities. And so what we'll do is I'm just going to walk through a little bit of an overview and review of the RADARSAT 2 mission and talk a little bit about an application-centric view of it in terms of some of the things that you can do with SAR that might be unique and maybe things you hadn't considered in the past. And then once we do that, I'll pass it over to Kevin, and he's going to walk through kind of how RADARSAT 2 fits into the Geomatica software itself and walk you through a nice little workflow of using RADARSAT 2 and SAR imagery within Geomatica through a live demonstration. We've been working with PCI for quite a long time, and we've really, in the last year or so, increased our interactions and cooperation between the two organizations. And so one of the things we have going on right now is a very attractive price discount for archive imagery that we're going to talk a little bit about later today, and hopefully we can tease you into giving RADARSAT 2 data a try. One of the last things I'm going to talk about towards the end of the session is just some work we're doing to make sample imagery easier to get and cover a much broader range of applications so that you can try it out yourself. And so we'll talk about that little program I've got going on a little later today. So just to talk about RADARSAT 2, there are a number of different commercial SAR missions out there, 3 primary ones, but RADARSAT 2 is kind of the original, or the RADARSAT mission, and now with RADARSAT 2 is kind of the original commercial SAR mission that was out there. We started with RADARSAT 1 back in 1995 and have continued on through RADARSAT 2, which is active and going strong right now. And we've started work on the RADARSAT Constellation mission, which will be launched in 2018 as the continuity of C-band SAR data in the commercial space. One of the hallmarks of the RADARSAT 2 mission is that as an organization, MDA is very much focused on delivering operational solutions to customers, specifically those that have a need for near real-time data. And so if you have any application that is time sensitive and you need certainty in getting the data that you're looking for, the RADARSAT 2 mission is the best mission out there for that type of application. We have the highest capacity of any commercial SAR mission, and we also offer you the greatest flexibility. And what we're talking about there in terms of flexibility is that RADARSAT 2 has 18 different beam modes available on the satellite. And so what that gives us is the ability to find the right combination of resolution and coverage for any application need. And so what we're looking at here is a little diagram that shows the different beam modes that are available on RADARSAT 2. And starting down at kind of the bottom left-hand side, we have our high-resolution modes. So Spotlight is the primary example of that, which offers a 1-meter resolution with a swath width of 18 kilometers by 8 kilometers. So a relatively small footprint, I think probably more typical to what you'd expect maybe from an optical image. Up at the other kind of extreme is our ScanSAR products, and our ScanSAR wide product in particular, which is heavily utilized for ship detection and ice and maritime surveillance, offers you a swath width of 500 kilometers by 500 kilometers at a resolution of 100 meters. And so as you can imagine, for any kind of application where you need to cover big areas, that's a very effective and efficient way of doing so. And then we really have kind of everything in the middle. And so the little squares that you're seeing here show the different beam positions that are available for each of the different beam modes. And one that we're going to talk a little bit about throughout the content of my presentation here this morning is our extra fine beam mode, which is kind of down towards the bottom end of the scale. It's a very unique beam mode even for RADARSAT 2, and is completely unique in the SAR space in that it gives you a 5-meter resolution product, but also gives you a swath width of nominally 125 by 125 kilometers. So it really gives us an opportunity to bring both high resolution and broad area coverage at the same time. So kind of a unique mode. None of the other SAR sensors out there can match it. Now, the other thing is we've been doing this for a very long time, and we've built a very, very deep archive. And kind of in combination with the promotion we're going to talk a little bit later, what you're looking at here is a heat map of all of the SAR imagery that has been acquired by the RADARSAT mission over the years. And so where you're seeing the dark blue cover, we've got over 1,000 scenes, in any of that particular area. And so as you can see, we do a lot of coverage over the Canada and the Arctic, but there's also a whole bunch of sites around the world that have very, very deep coverage. The Antarctic is an interesting one. Again, one of the unique properties of RADARSAT 2 is that we can swing the satellite from being right looking to being left looking, which gives us the ability to actually image the entire Antarctic continent, which is not something that other missions can do. And we are the only company that has put together a complete mosaic of the Antarctic continent. Just in terms of what this heat map actually means, though, it gives you about almost 34 billion square kilometers in over 685,000 scenes. And so if you have a need for some data, you want to see what we have, definitely come to us, and we can find a lot of good imagery in the archive for you. All right, let's go to the next slide. And the other thing that all of this flexibility, though, does lead to at times is a bit of maybe confusion on our customers' perspective as to, okay, I've got all of these beam modes. I can kind of pick the resolution I want. I can determine what kind of coverage I need. But a lot of times customers come to us and want help trying to figure out what the right beam mode is for my application. And so what we've done is we've put together this little graphic that we think really helps kind of clarify that situation. And so what we've got around the outside are a series of different applications that we see that our customers use RADARSAT 2 data for on a regular basis. And what we've then done is tried to map it to the beam modes that we see most of our customers using. And so this is just kind of representative in terms of not necessarily every mode for every application, and we have customers that have probably tried every different mode with every different application, but the ones that we use on the most regular basis are the ones that our customers have told us give them the best results. And so we've kind of leveraged our experience over the years to put this little chart together to help you in terms of picking the right application for the right beam mode. And we can make this available to you if you would like a copy of this, and we're happy to share that out as needed. And so to just kind of pick one application that maybe we want to talk a little bit about today, we picked forest monitoring. It's a great application for SAR data, and it's a very hot topic in the media right now and in the news. There's a lot of issues around deforestation, illegal logging, and programs like the RED program run by the United Nations looking for solutions for delivering monitoring in tropical regions. And one of the real benefits of SAR over optical is that we have an opportunity to collect imagery regardless of the weather conditions. So we're not affected by rain or tropical storms or anything like that, and cloud cover doesn't matter to us. We can image through all of that. And so in those tropical regions that we're talking about, where a lot of the interest is globally, so talking about Southeast Asia, we're talking about the Amazon, we're talking about the Congo Delta in Central Africa, RADARSAT 2 has this unique ability to get the imagery that people are looking for and make sure that we can deliver it. And so from a forest monitoring perspective, one of the real benefits of SAR is our ability to do automated change detection. So SAR delivers a data file at the end of the day, whereas optical imagery, in essence, delivers you a photograph. And so you can run algorithms against the data, and that's what Kevin's going to talk to you a lot about here today. And from that, we can automate the change detection process. We can do routine collections over these areas, and we do it on a regular basis. We can then run these change detection algorithms, and that allows us to see both, clear cuts in the forestry as well as selective logging. And so, we can see something down as a few big trees being taken out of a patch of forest in the Amazon. And so, in terms of beam modes and taking it back to how you might use the RADARSAT 2 imagery, there's kind of two key applications in the forestry space. You might want to do forest type mapping, so classification. And so for that, you might want to look at something like our fine beam mode or our quad pole data, which is again another unique feature of RADARSAT 2. We'd look at using either dual pole or quad pole data as the beam mode indicates. From an incidence angle perspective, we recommend something kind of in the middle of the range, usually around 35 degrees we find gives us the best results. And from a polarization perspective, we find that the VV polarization is our best choice for doing that type of classification. And this is a kind of a situation where you might want to actually use radar and optical together and take advantage of kind of the unique capabilities of both of those so that you can in fact merge those two data sets together and give you a very, very comprehensive product. Talked about looking for deforestation or changes in the forest canopy, and this is where SAR imagery really excels. And like I said, we use that change detection capability. This is where we will use our extra fine product, and we've been developing a very, very deep archive of extra fine imagery, so that 5-meter imagery over those three kind of primary tropical rainforest areas. And so if you want to have a look at our archive for some good imagery there, you can start to do some very, very interesting analysis and look at the change over time in those very important regions. Extra fine is a single pole mode, so that tends to be the way we use it. And looking at that temporal averaging over a long time frame really gives you good results on change in the forest canopy. And so, talking about the differences between SAR and optical, the primary one is that you're working with, in essence, a data file coming out of the SAR image, and it gives you the opportunity, as I've mentioned, to do data processing. So if we look at kind of two versions of the same scene, on the right-hand side there, we've got a nice optical image over the Straits of Gibraltar and a SAR image that's been colorized, and you can see very significant differences, like down in that purple area to the right in the SAR image, you're actually seeing the wind patterns on the water. I know most of you, as we kind of see from our poll today, you're working with other types of imagery, or you're working with SAR imagery a little bit, but it means you're probably very familiar with optical imagery. And so what we're hoping to show you today is how you can leverage some of the unique capabilities of SAR to maybe do some things that you're not doing today or that you didn't realize that you can do. And so if we look at kind of the unique capabilities of SAR, we've got weather independence, we've got that ability to automate and do change detection, and we've got InSAR, which allows us to combine kind of exact geometry repeats of a particular scene and be able to measure millimeter scale changes in the subsidence or the uplift on the surface of the Earth. Of course, to do that, we really need good software, and so that's where we're really happy to partner with PCI and their Geomatica product to give you access to one of the best processing software available on the market today. And so just one thing I'm going to touch on very briefly before moving over to Kevin to continue with the Geomatica portion of this. Sample data is incredibly important to get it into your hands so that you can play with this stuff, get familiar with it, and understand how you can use it in the applications that you're looking at. So at MDA, we've got a little bit of sample data on our website, and Kevin's going to give you a link to that to talk to and show you where you can get at what we have available today. But it's not really as much data as I would like to make available to you, and it doesn't cover off as many applications as I think are important. And so what we're in the process of doing is putting together a new, very comprehensive sample data set that's going to do things like give you a sample of every beam mode of RADARSAT 2 that I just showed you over a single location so you can see what the differences are. We're going to do all the different, take a single scene in a single location and process it in all the different ways that we can do, give you the raw SLC data, give you a geocoded or a georeferenced product so that you can see what those processing options give you out of the box when you take delivery from us. And then we're going to do a whole bunch of different processing and kind of value-added products. We're going to do some ship detection. We're going to do some oil on water, flood product, and not just give you the raw data, but also give you the product that we've generated out of our production facility so that you can see what the results look like. You can see how we got from the raw data to the final product, and you can then try and reproduce those things yourself and get very much familiar with the data. I'm hoping that we're going to have that ready in the second quarter of this year. Unfortunately, making data like this public requires the approval of the Government of Canada, and so I'm in the process of trying to get that approval for all these different images that we want to release, but I can't control how quickly the government moves, and so we'll see how fast that gets through the approval process, and when it does, we'll be sure to share that information with you. And so I think we'll just turn it over to Kevin now and talk a little bit more about Geomatica.
Perfect. Thanks, Warren. Yeah, I'm just going to pop in here one more time with another quick poll. And thank you for that informative discussion and learning more about RADARSAT and RADARSAT 2. I do want to mention that Warren will be sticking around for the question and answer session. So if you have any questions, feel free to pop those into the question box now, and we will get to those at the end of the session. So as Warren mentioned, we do have SAR Imagery and SAR data has a large number of applications that it can service quite well. So many, in fact, we didn't have room in our poll interface to fit them all in there. So I threw in a few of the most popular ones, but there is an other option down there at the bottom, and if you choose other, it would be really helpful actually if you could use the questions panel to let us know what you're using the SAR imagery for. Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for taking part in that poll. Again, fairly even split there. We have the top two are basically vegetation analysis, and then another one was combining SAR polarimetric information with other types of data, which is great. A number of others are rolling in. We're looking at change detection, urban land cover, geological structural analysis. These are the kind of things that are coming in. So this actually just really goes to show the versatility of radar imagery in the industry we have today. So thank you for taking part in the poll. And at this point, I'm going to pass it over to Kevin, who's going to talk a little bit about Geomatica, how you can process and analyze this data, and a live demonstration on how to do it. Go ahead, Kevin.
Thanks very much, Jason, and welcome everyone to our webinar. It's great to be here. Happy to be speaking to you today about our Geomatica technology and RADARSAT program and the RADARSAT program and how well suited our software is for that particular type of data. I want to highlight really quickly the depth and breadth of support that is available within Geomatica. We support all of the different images, whether they're single, dual, quad pole images throughout the Geomatica platform, and I really want to stress the fact that we have an operational system here that includes multiple tools, as you'll see in a minute. A key thing that we have is automatic imagery calibration, which is important. If you're conducting time series analysis or change detection, you want to be sure that the changes that you're observing are related to phenomena on the ground as opposed to anything that's happened in the data capture or the data processing. The data does come with calibration coefficients from MDA, and we're able to use that calibration information and produce backscatter information that can be used operationally. We have very rigorous support for complex data. Many other systems out there that are using that allow you to process radar imagery force you to work with multiple different tools to go from slant range to ground range. We have an integrated system that allows you to work seamlessly throughout the workflow with the complex data from start to finish. Some other things that we have include automatic DEM extraction, ortho rectification, change detection, and some great polarimetric tools. Now, as I mentioned, Geomatica is a very powerful platform and tool set that is very beneficial for working with SAR Imagery. This is a quick review of the three main tools. We have other tools that are available, of course, but in terms of the integrated analysis, this is typically how things are done. We have on the left the SAR Polarimetric Target Analysis Toolkit. So this is, I'll be showing this in a minute. It allows you to generate signatures, calculate numerical information from the either the dual or the fully polarimetric data. We have Focus, which is our viewing and analysis environment where the user can interactively perform individual workflow tasks one by one. And then we have at the end our OrthoEngine tool, which allows you to generate our geocoded end products that line up perfectly with the Earth's surface or reference data that you have. And all of the tools here are well integrated. There's a lot of automation in the system so that you are spending your time analyzing the imagery, analyzing your results, as opposed to really struggling with just getting through the workflow. So if we go to the next slide, the first thing I want to highlight that is available within our system is the polarimetric target analysis. And here we have an image over Gibraltar, and I've chosen to highlight a few different areas. I've created a target over a forested area up in the mountains near Gibraltar, and you can see the response plot of that particular target. And here what we see is a predominant or a preference for HH polarization. You can see that it's quite even at the top. There's specific interpretation on these response plots that I won't get into right now, but we have a lot of documentation and information available on that. And then if we look at the ship response plot, we have a peak in the middle, which is indicating some vertical component to the backscattered energy, which is coming back, as well as some horizontal energy, so the hull of the ship as well as the superstructure of the ship. So we can interactively analyze our imagery, generate target signatures, and then use those for further analysis downstream. The second main tool that I want to highlight is Focus, which is our viewer. And I've just thrown in some different screen grabs from our interface. On the left, or in the background, what you see are two images which I'll be using in my demonstration of an airport. And you can see that there are some targets that are changing from one date to the next. In this particular example, these are airplanes that are absent on the first acquisition and present on the second acquisition. So we can do things like make a red, green, blue color composite, if we will. These are just showing the individual dates right now on two separate viewers which are linked. If we want to clip a certain portion of the data set, maybe our study area is smaller than the entire image, we can use our clipping tools. Very easy to pull up multiple images and clip them to a common area. And then we have our algorithm librarian, which is available through Focus and other parts of our system to pull up over 550 individual algorithms that could be executed. So Focus is a very powerful tool for doing this analysis. And then finally, the last piece of the puzzle is OrthoEngine. So OrthoEngine is something that you would use for geocoding your final results. So if we just hit next, Jason. And really what this is going to allow you to do is position your information exactly on the ground, on the Earth's surface, in a very easy and automated manner. So what you saw there was essentially a base map of one of the parts of the Gibraltar imagery from Google Earth, and then I performed the orthorectification using a rough elevation model and the rational polynomial coefficients which are available from the RADARSAT imagery to position the data pretty much within 1 pixel of where it belongs on the surface of the Earth. So this is very important. As you can see, hopefully we have the analysis, the target analysis, the viewing and further analysis within focus, and then we have the final product generation with OrthoEngine. So these three tools make up the main components that are available within our software. Before I go into the live demo, I just want to quickly mention a few things. We are currently working on new technology, next generation technology for synthetic aperture radar data, in particular compact polarimetry, which is going to be important with MDA's next mission, or the Space Agency, Canadian Space Agency and MDA's next mission, which is the RADARSAT Constellation mission, or RCM as it's known. In addition, we are adding support for in-SAR processing, so the ability to measure subsidence, as Warren was mentioning in his discussion. We will have tools that are easy to use, accurate and powerful within Geomatica, within the coming releases that are coming up over the next year and a half or so. So we're looking forward to that, and you'll start to see previews of that technology in our various marketing material. So a typical radar workflow, RADARSAT workflow, this is just an illustration of a change detection workflow between two images. There are, as you can see, all of these acronyms that are in uppercase letters. These are individual, these are some of the 550 algorithms that are available within our software. And we have best practices for working your way through a workflow, a change detection workflow in this case, starting with ingestion or importing of the two images, some filtering, then we could do some polarimetric decompositions and perform our change detection algorithms. We have tailored change detection algorithms for radar imagery. So these will look at coherent change detection in the intensity, the phase, and then we can also classify the changes using a Wishart classification algorithm that's available. And then we have, because this is such a powerful system, we have things like converting the identified changed pixels into polygons. We can associate attributes to those like brightness or the size of the polygons, and all of that information we can add to the detected changes because we have an integrated system that's quite easy to use. So my live demonstration is going to focus on these different tools that I've been talking about, and really what I want to convey today is the fact that we have a lot of automation and we have a lot of capability to perform change detection on a repeated manner. It's quite easy to do within Geomatica. So the first example I'm going to focus on is a ship detection example. I have an automated workflow for ship detection, and the second example is going to be on repeat pass images over a specific location in California. So the process in a very, very simple way here is to co-register the calibrated imagery. Again, very important that the imagery is calibrated. We then perform the change detection, and then we can classify and represent our changes easily within the Geomatica system. So I'm going to take control at this point and show you some of this capability. Now, the first thing I want to do is just quickly run you through the Geomatica toolbar. We have, as of this week, just released the latest version of our software, which is Geomatica 2015. And as usual, with every version of our software, we have a great new capability, including new capability for and improved capability for radar imagery. The first thing I want to load is the Polarimetric target analysis tool. So I'm going to load that software up. So it's one component of our overall software suite. And what I get is essentially a viewer window and a target analysis window. So I can load up an image. In this case, this is a fully polarimetric image, so meaning there are 4 bands, HH, HV, VV, and VH available within this data set. And we can zoom in and out and view different parts of the data set very easily. And the key thing with this tool is to start to understand the targets that we are observing. So it's very simple. We have different ways of getting information from our data set. The first thing I'll do is I'll make a numerical output, so I can essentially set a rectangle if I wish. I can draw a rectangle on the data set. So let's do a rectangle just over some open water here. And then I can turn on different parameters that I wish to calculate. Maybe I want to compare two different targets. If I want to see, I'll just do a very simple example here, the Van Zyl classification. This will tell me whether I'm getting predominantly even or odd number of bounces to get an idea of the surface. So I get a result here. I can clear that. Then maybe I want to do a different target, and I want to do the same analysis and get a result this way. So there's really no limit in terms of all of these parameters that can be executed at the same time. So I could just turn all these on, and I can hit compute again, and you can see that it very, very quickly computes all of these parameters. And I can export these parameters out and perhaps do some further analysis on them. So we have numerical output, which is possible. We also have graphical output. So for those of you who are familiar with these response plots, we have histograms, scatter plots, and response plots. I'll show you the response plots just because they're definitely interesting to look at. And if I make a response plot over this particular area here, this is a forested area. And very, very nice interface here. I have a interactive plot, so I can zoom in. I can rotate this plot around. I can exaggerate the particular features by dragging up and down, and I can zoom in and out of this as well. So so this is showing me that this particular surface here is mostly reflecting in HH is the way to interpret this particular plot here. So whereas if I want to get a particular signature over a specific target, I can zoom in here over a ship, for example. So I'll just move over to the ship. I'll draw a rough polygon over that ship, and I'll once again generate a plot. And you can see that I get a different response here. I'm getting a little bit of a bulge in the middle or close to the middle, which is telling me that there's some vertical component to the backscatter in this case. And so as I'm moving along here, I could save these graphics out if I'm working maybe on a scientific paper or something like that. Very easy to generate graphics. And I can also manipulate these targets. So if I go under Target Manager, you can see that it's been keeping track of my targets as I've been working. So if I want to work on a particular target, I can go set to current. You can see it resets the view. I can label this one as forest, and then I can go to another target, label this one as a cargo ship, etc. So very easy to work with the software, very intuitive, and quite responsive. So let's say, for example, that we want to perform analysis over these ships, but we don't necessarily want to go and have to digitize them one by one. So what I'm going to show you now is really the power of automation within our software. So I've built a workflow that will automatically extract the ships from this particular data set. So here we have another tool, which is Modeler, which is part of our software suite, which allows you to graphically build a workflow and execute it to generate a particular result. So what I have here is I'm importing that Gibraltar image, which I was just looking at. So I'm bringing in all of the information. I'm going to filter, do an adaptive leaf filter. Then I'm going to convert the complex data to intensity, which is going to then allow me to essentially look at extracting particular ship features. So I've got an intermediate step here to burn the land out. So I don't want to look at any land because that's just not what I'm interested in. So this is a vector file that is going to burn the land out, and what I'll be left with is open water and then I'll be able to execute this program, which is our very, very useful program. It's called extract polygons from raster. So once I have my intensity image, I can set a threshold value. In this case, I've looked at the data before, and I can set a threshold value of the intensity, the calibrated intensity value, to get my ship information, my pixels that qualify or that meet the criteria for ships. And then I can export that out to a file, and I'll load that up right now to show you. So I'll go back to, I won't run it now, it does take a few minutes. But what I'll do is I'll load that file up. So I'll load up the Gibraltar image. And I'm going to go to the target manager. And in this case, what I'll do is I'll import the targets that were automatically detected from the data set. So I'll just grab that particular file that I generated. So here's my PIX file that I generated that ran through the model. You can see it generates a small file here. It's only about 100 megabytes. So I'll open that up, and there you can see that this automatic workflow gave me a number of targets. So I have my ships. I can zoom to a particular target. This one looks to be a big ship, and I can once again pick up where I left off and do my analysis specifically with that target. So let's say, for example, I want to generate a response plot of that particular ship target, which was automatically detected. I'll specify that particular location, and there's that particular ship again. So hopefully that gives you a sense of the power to walk back and forth between the different parts of the Geomatica software suite, and the ability to not only automate, but then do further analysis within the, in this case, the target analysis software suite. So I'm going to switch gears now. We've been looking at a maritime example, and this demonstration that I'm about to give is fully available on our website. I've made the model that I am about to show you available on our website. In addition, we have a step-by-step workflow that you can follow along with that is available under our tutorial section of our website. So I'll open up Modeler once again. Actually, before I do that, what I'll do is I'll show you the end result of this particular workflow. So this is kind of an interesting example. Several years ago, when I started to work here at PCI, I reached out to MDA and I asked for some RADARSAT 2 imagery over a beautiful area, which is Monterey, California. And it was for a military exercise. And as it turns out, the data that we collected to support that military exercise was of this beautiful area, which has, you can see these funny looking patterns here. These are golf courses, and essentially these are world famous golf courses. So what we have down here is Pebble Beach. For those of you who know a little bit about golf, this would have been where people like Tiger Woods and people like that played tournaments which are televised, and very prestigious tournaments. So as it turns out, this data set was collected on the Saturday, so the day right before the end of the tournament. The tournament typically ends on a Sunday, and what we're seeing in this case are changes related to just the increased presence of people in Monterey because of the golf tournament. As you can imagine, there's media people that are there, there's spectators which have come in, and there's just a whole lot of changes related to the fact that this tournament is happening in this particular location. So let's just quickly look here. So we have our change features which are automatically extracted from the data set. You can see that they're in the form of polygons here. I have a reference layer underneath so that you can get an idea of the types of features that we detected. And this is the actual change product that is generated from one of the automatic algorithms called CCD-in-10. And the blue targets are bright features that appeared on the second image, and the magenta or the reddish targets are the ones that were present on the first image and have been removed from the second image or are gone. So we can definitely get a sense that there are some planes that are located here on the new acquisition. We have some new vehicles that are appearing, some equipment moving around, and we actually even have a plane that's landing. We have a bright signature here. I've spoken to some of our internal SAR experts, and they tell me that these bright responses, which are repeating, are related to the fact that a plane is landing along the pretty much coincident with the acquisition. So that gives you an idea of the active nature of the sensor and the information that can be derived. So this information can be extracted automatically. And what I'll do is I'll load up the model that can generate this. So don't be intimidated too much. Maybe it looks like a little bit of a complicated model, but it's actually quite straightforward. So what we have is our two images which are imported. So we have our June 20th acquisition, which is the date of the big golf tournament at Pebble Beach. And then we have an image that's collected 24 days before that on May 27th. We have, in this case here, again, we're clipping the airport just to speed up the processing. We have a program here called AutoShift, which co-registers the two data sets perfectly one to another to perform the change detection. We do a clip so that we are only looking at the airport in this case. Then we do the coherent change detection intensity, so the CCD intensity analysis. And as with any program within our software, you can click on the help and get a detailed description as to the background behind this particular algorithm and how it relates to other parts of our software. So if you're interested to know more about anything within our software, very easy to do that. Once we have our CCD intensity analysis completed, it generates several channels. The one that we're mostly interested in is the ranked change percentile. So this is the this maps the changes within the different percentile changes. So changes that are very obvious are going to be higher in terms of their ranking in the percentile. So our extract polygons from raster algorithm is going to look for anything that's above 95, the 95th percentile for changes. We can also set the size of area or the size of change that we want to detect. Single pixel change maybe isn't so interesting. Maybe we're looking for bigger objects for those planes, or if we're looking for cars, maybe we'll want to bring this down to 10. And we can also change the shape of the object that we want to change. So if we want something rounder or something more linear, we can change these compactness values and specify a particular type of change that we want to extract. And then we export that out to a final file, and we're able to run this program. This again takes a few minutes, so I won't run it right now. But what this will generate is this project file, which you'll have access to. You'll be able to see exactly how we got to this step in the tutorial that we've been able to make available for you. Now the final step is ortho rectification, and I'll just quickly show you what OrthoEngine looks like. OrthoEngine for RADARSAT imagery is very, very straightforward. We have so what I would essentially do is create a new project, specify RADARSAT modeling, choose a folder and a file name. Then I would add my data to this particular. So I'll go find my Gibraltar image just as an example. really quickly here. Here's my Gibraltar image, which is not ortho-corrected. So if I was to export to Google Earth or compare this to any GIS layer, you would find a shift. And the reason for that shift is we haven't ortho-rectified and accounted for the elevation in the data set and really taken the RPC information and created a more accurate model to do that. And then I would essentially compute a model. So this step takes the RPC information from the RADARSAT 2 imagery that comes with every single image, and then I can specify a broad DEM, general scale DEM, and ortho-rectify that image. So I won't run it right now, but you can get a sense that that's very, very simple to do. And the end result is a perfectly ortho-rectified image that lines up with the ground, which is obviously very important, and also can be established as a baseline for correcting future images that are collected over time to properly align your changes throughout your analysis. So if I can go back to the slides, actually I can probably do that myself. I'll just pick up where we left off here. Sorry, just a quick delay. Jason, I guess you're going to give this poll, and then I'm going to finish up.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks for that demonstration, Kevin. I'm going to go through the last poll. We do have a number of questions coming through as well, so if you have not asked your question and you have one, feel free to enter those into the question box now, and we will get to them at the Q&A session. So our last question is basically, how much can we sign you up for? After seeing today's presentation and the live demonstration, how likely is it that you'll be looking to be adding some new SAR imagery to your catalog? Excellent. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. That's the last of the polls I have for today, and I thank everybody for taking part in that. And yeah, a very large majority, over 50% of people are interested in acquiring some SAR imagery. So that's really great. Kevin is going to talk about how we can make that easier for you. So I'll pass it back to Kevin to wrap up, and then we'll get to the question and answer session.
Great. Thanks again, Jason. So as I mentioned before my demonstration, we've gone to, we've made sure that you can download some imagery and download the tutorial and the software to replicate this analysis. So the SAR change detection tutorial is available right now on our website. If you go to PCIGeomax.com, navigate to Resources and Support Geomatica Tutorials Change Detection, you'll see a PDF file which is about 10 pages long, which will walk you through the analysis. Now, the data that was used in the demonstration is not available on MDA's website. However, there is similar imagery available, which we recommend that you use over Phoenix, Arizona. Pretty much the same type of analysis can be done. It's a complex data set, and it's a repeat pass data set that is very, very similar to the data set that I showed over Monterey. And it does have some interesting changes on it that you can learn a little bit more about. The imagery that I just mentioned is available in that tutorial, also on MDA's website, and we have a landing page on our website that has links to MDA's sample data sets. We've actually also created a video playlist on this SAR change detection and feature extraction topic. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll be able to find that. And we also have the model, so the canvas that I filled up with all of those different algorithms that have been chained together to replicate the analysis are available in our section of our website called Resources, Geomatica Developer Resources, and Models. So be sure to check that out. We have lots of other resources. I already mentioned the YouTube videos. Here I'm highlighting the specific playlist that we put together for the SAR change detection, so you can follow along. We have tutorials, which I've mentioned, the sample imagery, the model examples, and a couple of things I just want to mention. We have we give a radar course on using SAR imagery with Geomatica, and you'll have the pleasure to work with one of our trainers, Dr. Gabriel Gosselin, who is a PhD in SAR, is the instructor for that course. The next time we're offering that is July 7 and 8, and it costs us $600 for a 2-day training course. It's limited enrollment, so you get a lot of one-on-one time with Gabriel. We also make available for free the course books that are used for this course, so you can, if you wish to try to learn on your own, you can do that as well. I want to mention that MDA has a lot of expertise with RADARSAT 2, as Warren was mentioning. They have been the commercial order desk for the RADARSAT program since the days of RADARSAT 1 in the mid-1990s. They have sophisticated tools and personnel that is quite experienced, that can help you choose the best imagery to conduct the analysis that you're interested in. So they can work with you to do a feasibility analysis to understand what imagery is available, how well suited it would be for your particular application, to make sure that you're making the right decision before you purchase any imagery. Which leads me to the 60% off promotion. We currently have a promotion on with MDA. We're pleased to offer up to 60% off archive imagery from RADARSAT MDA, and you can get to this from a few different places, right from our landing page on our website. We have a banner that you can click on that brings you to the page. If you are using Geomatica, there is a button within Geomatica that brings you right to that page under File, Order Imagery, Order Radar Imagery. So really what's important is that you go to this website and you fill out the information. What you'll see on the page, I'll just quickly bring it up here so you can see what I mean. So you can go to / SAR as well. Sorry, I'll just quickly go. Oops. Yep, there it was. I missed it. So if you go to this page, you'll see a number of resources. The infographic that Warren was mentioning is available here. We have some information on different applications. We have the links to the sample imagery that MDA makes available on their website. We have some tips for learning SAR, and if you're a beginner to SAR, just some basic terminology here. The most important thing, though, is this particular form that we have, and this is a form that we encourage you to fill out. So if you fill this this particular form out, what it will do is it will trigger an automatic email message to our team, which is comprised of MDA and PCI, and will provide you with follow-up in terms of feasibility analysis for choosing the right product for your application. So if I just to summarize before the Q&A, we, PCI, really feel that RADARSAT 2 offers excellent capability for monitoring and radar-based applications. Geomatica is a proven software suite that is always being improved, including our Geomatica 2015 software suite, which we've just released this week. And if you are interested in high-quality information products for your research or for your operations, we strongly feel that you should choose PCI, Geomatics, and MDA for your SAR needs. And just a closing note, if you'd like to meet us in person, myself and Warren will be attending some of these events coming up where we'll be exhibiting or present at the conference. So feel free to reach out to either one of us if you'd like to connect. We'd be very pleased to meet you in person and discuss in further detail. So with that, Jason, I'm going to pass over to you for the Q&A.
Excellent. Thanks, Kevin. We did get a number of great questions. I'll try to get through as many as I can here. The first one is for Warren. I'm going to unmute you momentarily, Warren. Early in your presentation, you had mentioned one of the things slowing down the release of the new imagery and the new data sets you're making available is permission from the Canadian government. And there was a question about that specifically. If MDA requires Canadian authority for any imagery they sell, and if that's the case, how long does it take to get imagery? I think there might be some clarification on that there for people.
Sure. Yeah. So the short answer is sort of. In terms of the particular thing that we were talking about around the sample data, I have to get approval because we're trying to make it publicly available for free to anyone in the world. So that's why I have to go through a bit of a different process for the sample data that we're talking about. When it comes time to kind of from an operational perspective, someone's buying some data from us, there is a table that we keep track of that says who we're allowed to sell to and who we're not allowed to sell to. So there are places like North Korea where we're never allowed to sell imagery to. But for the vast bulk of our orders, we do a quick check to see who's buying the data and what they're planning on using it for. I'm guessing somewhere excess of 99% of the orders it's not an issue and it just goes through, it gets approved, and there's no impact on the customer's order process at all.
Excellent. And then I have one here for Kevin. One of the things, Kevin, we like to really promote in Geomatica is the automation, and you showed a lot of that, how that could be done in Modeler, some of the things that you were doing. And we also have our own scripting language that people might be using in Easy. And our latest software has added the ability to script together things using open source Python. And we have a question about specifically about Python, but can the kind of things that you demonstrated today be done outside of Modeler in Easy and or Python as well?
Yes, and I hope that everybody can still see my screen. Is that?
I can see your screen.
Okay, so I didn't get it done in time here, but I was trying to get through developing a Python workflow that is equivalent version of Modeler. So everything that I showed in Modeler is definitely doable within Python, or Easy. Python is nice. It's a new addition to our software suite. It's an open source language that is deep and rich in terms of the libraries that are available outside of Geospatial. It has rich Geospatial libraries in addition to pretty much anything that you can think of that you might want to do, from FTP to email to anything really. So absolutely, I just didn't get it done in time, but here's my rough looking Python script which I was working on early this morning.
Excellent. And another one for Warren. I'm gonna bundle a few up together, Warren. We talked a little bit about applications and how many applications SAR is specific for. So we had a number of questions about people wanting to know about specific applications. We have one: is SAR useful for mining? Any kind of mining application? And another one that I saw come through was: is it a good tool for measuring the subsidence data in coastal areas, where the coastal swamps and other low wetlands and things like that? I wonder if maybe you could speak to those two specific applications and maybe elaborate on those kinds of things a bit.
Yeah, definitely. So take the mining one first. Most definitely, we've got a big collection of customers in the mining space, and we use InSAR to do a lot of different things in mining around typically monitoring the infrastructure around the mine site. So whether it be tailings dams or pit walls on an open pit mine, we can use InSAR to measure deformation around the mine, or to see if the mining activities are having an impact on the infrastructure of the mine site itself, or even local towns and villages around it. So yes, a lot of applications for mining, and we'd be happy to talk to you about that a little bit more. The coastal wetland ones is a bit of an interesting one. Obviously, we're a very commercial organization. That's not an application that we get a lot from a commercial perspective. That said, I have seen a little bit of research being done using SAR data for coastal estuarine monitoring and that sort of thing. So I don't think I'm in a great position to speak to it, but if you do a little bit of digging out there, I think you will definitely turn up some research that'll show the use of SAR in that particular application.
Perfect. Now I have one that I can handle here quickly, and then I'll get to another one for Kevin. Somebody asking about Python functionality and what versions Python is available in. The Python integration and functionality in Geomatica was introduced last year in Geomatica 2014, so it is available in 2014 going forward. Versions older than that do not, unfortunately, do not have that functionality built in. However, the good news is our latest version is available with a 30-day trial, which I encourage everybody who is either on an older version of Geomatica or not yet using Geomatica to rush out and download now. It can be very easily accessed with a very short form at getgeomatica.com. And you can try and try out a few scripts there with the Python and some of the other new functionality that we've added. And then quickly, I'll get to last question here. This is for Kevin. When you were doing the SPTA portion of your demonstration, the first half there, you talked about burning earth. It was the term you used to only be able to be looking at the water portion. Can you sort of elaborate on that and how that works and what you had to do that?
Yeah, sure. So essentially, if I was to try to detect ships on land, it would the algorithm would run into all sorts of problems. So I'll just quickly load up that particular data set. I have a rough coastline that is available with the data set that I'm using. So if I load up the Gibraltar data set here, what I did is I had essentially a vector file that delineated the coastline. So by using the burn function, which is it's called burn because it's burn a mask. So what I did is I generated a mask of the land to only focus the analysis on the water portion. So pretty straightforward process that's done in a lot of analysis.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And I think we've gotten to the questions there. Except Warren, I do see there was an application that we didn't necessarily get to as I was going through the questions there, and I think you're sort of looking at it now about sea surface salinity, salt content, I guess. Did you have some elaboration about what the suitability for SAR in that application that we could mention to the whole group?
Yeah, I was just going to respond offline to that one. Unfortunately, that's not one we're going to be able to help you with. We can definitely show you wind speed and things like that over the surface of the water, but unfortunately, the way radar works, it kind of reflects off the surface of the water, and salinity, I think, would be a bit of a stretch.
Excellent. Fair enough. So excellent. I thank everybody for their participation today. We had a very good crowd and a lot of good questions, a lot of great feedback. I'd like to thank Warren and Kevin for putting together the presentation and the demonstration. We did record the session, so in the next day or so we will be getting a recording out, and the links to the data and the manuals and everything that Kevin had mentioned in his slides, those will be included in an email you should be receiving in the next couple of days, along with the slides, the recording, and some question and answer highlights. So again, thank everybody for taking the time to join us today. Thank you to Kevin. Thank you to Warren. And always check out PCIgeomatics.com in our webinar section to learn about our next webinar, to learn more about the kinds of things we can do with Geomatica software. Thanks everybody, and have a nice day.